We'll call. Okay, very good. We'll call a meeting to order at 7 p.m. We don't, oh, John, John can fill in for Tom Archibald again, okay?
All right.
Appreciate that. Hopefully, Tom, I guess, may not want to continue, but I haven't heard anything yet. I did contact him once, so hopefully he'll either be on or off pretty soon. I think his term expires pretty soon anyway. So then we can have you full-time, John.
All right. Sounds good.
Yep. Are there any? Yep. Any additions or changes in the order of the agenda?
Yes, I'd like to suggest moving item 6, new business, and after item 8, approval of meeting minutes. We have an application for a jurisdictional ruling for forestry, and I've spoken to the forester. He has a meeting in Lebanon at the same time tonight, so it should be just starting now, and it's for the same property actually. So hopefully he can catch us after that meeting ends.
Right. Sounds great. Any communication or correspondence?
No, not tonight.
Okay, nothing tonight. And we don't have any audience of citizens, I don't believe.
Just me.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
There's Mike.
there. Okay.
Hi,
Mike.
Mr. Dobish.
Good. Okay, so we'll start under new business, IWWC 2223. No, I'm sorry, old business. We'll start under IWWC 2223-30, the application of Michael Dobush to install 40 feet of pipe and add paver, soil, and grass to 2 to 3 new steps at 3 Sleepy Hollow Road. Isabel, you want to give us a little bit of background? I know we've had a site walk there a couple of times.
Sure, yeah. So as you said, John, we did have a site walk on March 18th. We had quorum, and in addition, we had a member of LMAC attend as well, just to give their perspective along with Mary. Mr. Dobish would like to add 40 feet of pipe at the bottom of the existing swale so that water is carried from the swale directly to the lake rather than going around his dock, which is currently eroding. And in addition, the plan is to put permeable pavers over the pipe to bring it to grade with basically the bottom of the swale. The suggestion of LMAC was to add a dry well as well between the swale and the corrugated pipe, just to, again, slow water down coming out of the swale because there is fairly steep, and to remove any remaining sediment that might leave the swale as well. And Mr. Dobish said that he would be willing to do that. So I think currently that's where we stand. The erosion at that section of the lake is pretty significant. Mr. Dobish would also like to add, I think, 2 to 3 steps down into the lake just to traverse the area a little bit more quickly, safely, because right now it is a little bit difficult.
Okay, very good. Michael, do you have anything you would like to say? How's the project going?
Also at the suggestion at the LMAC member, I'm probably going to bring up the paver height a full 8 inches, which will lessen the angle of the corrugated pipe. So there'll be less of a pitch on the pipe as well.
Okay.
You know, but between that and putting the box in and dropping the pipe down in the box, you know, will slow the water down considerably.
Okay.
John,
Yes.
I have 2 questions because I left, had to leave early for my full-time, part-time job that day. So if I may ask those questions?
Absolutely.
Thank you. The first question is, starting at the top of the road, there is a remnants, I would say, of a swale that was put in years ago. And Mr. Dobush, would that swale, I think we discussed this, but I did leave early. That swale would need to be updated, taking the stones out. There was a suggestion to dig down X number of inches, I don't recall the number, and then putting in appropriate stones so that swale starts to catch a little bit before it gets to the pipe. Was that finalized? Was that
Yeah,
discussion finalized?
I am gonna be rebuilding the swell.
Okay,
Once the pipe's in, I'm gonna work my way back up towards the road, basically. Straightening it out and making the sides probably a little bit higher with riprap to
With
control the
riprap.
water. Yeah, the
correct.
110 feet of the swell are gonna remain. I'm actually only eliminating about 10 feet of the swell.
Okay,
The rest is just where it ran across the dirt and eroded. So it's
Yes.
actually, the water's gonna be probably filtered more and definitely a less velocity going into the lake with the
Okay.
addition of that box that we're gonna put in at the end of the swell.
terrific. Thank you. Does the committee have any questions relative to the swale? Or should I move to my second question? Good. Again, I left early, but I have had discussion with Jim Santos, and of course, we have LMAC Wednesday evening. Will the pipe be diverted or angled so that it will empty into the water after a dry well or some sort of catch basin, whatever we call this? And it will be angled and diverted into the area where the stairs are versus putting the pipe through what is pretty much a very solid structured wall. I know Jim had some concerns about the necessity, nice versus need, of rebuilding the wall under the dock.
The wall is not a really big issue. I'm a mason, so that's not a real difficult job.
Well, the wall could be an issue to LMAC.
I don't know why one would be any better than the other.
Okay,
We are going to put, like I said, the water's now going to come off the swell into a box where it'll have to fill the box up before
correct.
it leaves the box down the pipe. We really didn't discuss anything about re-angling it back to dump in the step area.
Okay, that discussion may come up Wednesday. I don't know if it
Okay.
means anything to wetlands tonight. I think do we need to rebuild a wall that is a structure that's very solid versus would it be nice to do, and should it be channeled where it currently is channeled, which nature has taken from the swale without a pipe. The pipe will help and the catch basin will help. It's been diverted into that stair area. Is there a need to have to change that in any way? I
I
know
think-
that'll be discussed at LMAC.
Yeah, the only thing I see with that is just you're gonna end up still with a sharp angle, even
Correct.
coming out of that catch basin.
Correct.
I think you're gonna
Or
end up
out
with
of.
more washout in that little inlet area. Because of the volume that's gonna be, there's really no depth there. I think you're gonna have a constant erosion problem there, whereas when it goes under the dock, you're going to be spilling, above the water, and the water is going to absorb most of the turbulence.
Okay. You may want to be on LMAC Wednesday evening.
Yes,
because
I will-
can't,
I will
obviously, I
agree.
can't make a decision for LMAC
No,
on that.
no,
And I'm not sure, Isabel, where wetlands, if you have questions regarding that, where wetlands ends or LMAC starts, or is it kind of a both should agree on versus either or? Wetlands should agree with LMAC or LMAC should agree with wetlands. I'll defer to you, Isabel.
Sure, I think that definitely the final design is going to have to be agreed upon by both wetlands and LMAC. This is something that the commission can vote on tonight. We did receive it last month. But there isn't any statutory requirement for the commission to vote on it this month. We could push it to our next meeting as well if there's some additional concerns, if we need more information either from Mr. Dobish or from LMAC, just to settle what's going to be happening with that section of the lake, just to confirm that we have essentially the same application, the same finalized plan, and that
Correct.
we don't have to send Mr. Dobish back through this process again to make any kind of modifications.
Could wetlands do something contingent on? Does wetlands have a preference? Should it go through straight into a wall and take down a wall that is really a very solid structure versus keep it where it is and divert it into the water as it's been diverted? Is there a contingency, or should we just wait till, where are we, May?
I think either is really a possibility. It's up to the discretion of the commission as to what would be preferred. There are certainly benefits to having a design that does not send the water directly into the lake, that reduces turbulence by sending it onto the stairs. But again, having that curvature, which currently exists in the swale and the
Correct.
water pathway, does make things a little bit complicated. So I think that would require new plans or drawings, which I would want to have on paper so that we could all be on the same page essentially before the commission takes a vote on that kind of potential design change.
Okay. So,
Alright.
so if wetlands does take that step, then I'll bring it to LMAC Wednesday night.
Yeah, because it's kind of on me that, I didn't get the ball rolling, but, I kind of want to get this taken care of to try to beat this season.
Well,
You know.
any construction of the wall would not be done until next November. You cannot construct the wall. The season for construction on the lake, if it's a lake wall, would be from, and I think this is an odd year, so it would be from November 1st through March 15th. So there can be no construction of steps into the lake and or the wall.
Well,
Until-
the steps are on land. They're not into the
Well,
lake.
they do
And-
enter the lake. That would be an LMAC,
Okay,
at LMAC's discretion.
okay.
I can tell you just based on precedent that won't happen probably until the construction season, which is allowed, which is this year, November 1st through March 15th of 2024. From an LMAC perspective.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? So I guess we'll let this go.
Yes.
Until
Well,
the next-
is inland wetlands okay with either either entrance to the lake, either under the dock or, the stairs are definitely going to be, an issue because you really can't dump it onto the steps. It would have to be on the side of the steps.
Which is what it currently is.
Right. But I mean, just the
So
logistics of the height, I think would be more complicated. I think it would be doing more damage, but that's only my opinion. I'll bring that up Wednesday because you're still going to have quite the velocity with that quick drop of, because you're going to be still dropping, 4 feet within a distance of like 6 feet.
Well, please do, sir,
Yeah.
because I think
Yeah.
Jim Santos will be there, and
Yeah.
he was the one who brought these issues up.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
I will say, putting a bend in a pipe buried is not the best practice.
I
Okay,
think LMAC's response may be, a best practice may not be a pipe above water. All pipes that we are familiar with and or that have been approved are underwater typically.
Well, I was told just the opposite. I was told that they did not, nobody wanted the pipe underwater. So that's
I
why.
could be
came up-
mistaken.
That's
Let's
why I
just-
came up with that specific design of having it above the water,
Okay,
because they
Well-
don't want to disturb the lake bottom.
let's revisit that with Jim Santos. I think he had a
Okay.
different opinion.
Okay,
So Isabel, I'll defer to you. How do you want to move forward?
So that's, like I said, the commission does have discretion to vote tonight if you so choose. My advice at this stage, because the design is pending some potential changes based on LMAC's guidelines and considerations, it might be pertinent to wait until our next meeting just to make sure that everything is finalized and so that we don't have to go through any additional modifications, but either would really be an option available to you tonight.
Okay. So let's see what the LMAC says, and then we can bring it up again at the next meeting. Is that okay with you, Mike?
not really, but I don't really have much of a say in it, you
I
know.
think that's
Well,
what-
being construction on the lake wall can't happen until November. I think we have some time.
Yeah,
Well, but I can do all the work besides the lake wall. I mean, I can stub the pipe to the lake wall and do everything else. There's a lot of site work that can be done before the season.
Isabel, do you want to divide and conquer? Anything from the road to the swale? At least you could start that.
Well, what I would like to do would get an approval that whatever LMAC decides where the entry is gonna be, that I can put the pipe up to the wall in and install my pavers, and get that area safe. I mean, the problem is it's a lawsuit waiting to happen. John, from experience, how treacherous that situation is there.
Yep.
And that's why I'm only trying to solve this, to make that area safer, And I do know, hardship can be granted to do the work, out of the normal construction zone, construction period.
I, not on the lake,
Okay.
not when it's respective to the lake wall or the border of the lake.
Yeah, but Mary, can he actually do like, within like 10 feet of the lake or so? Just
Oh,
to-
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's not LMAC's purview. That would be wetlands. Which is
Right.
why I suggest, Isabel, do you want to divide and conquer? Start to swale at
That is
least.
an option. We could permit one section and then I think if one section of the application were permitted, it would either require Mr. Dobish for you to come back with an application to modify the permit that you were given or a new application. I think at this stage of modification would be reasonable, but then that would be an additional cost to you. And I think it would also potentially, I can't remember off the top of my head, it may also extend the remaining approvals by an additional month, because when new applications come in, they have to sit in front of the commission for at least 14 days to allow time for appeal. So those are considerations, certainly. But
Isabel, I have to say something here because I'm looking at this and the town is dumping water down on, his right of way, that property. If it's going to be this stringent, and I understand there's guidelines we have to follow, but shouldn't we have a town engineer overseeing this and helping him out? He's one of our town neighbors here that is just trying to make his property better. And, it seems like, this is a lot more work than it should be.
we could have an engineer review the application. And that's certainly something that I can discuss with the town as well. We've gone back and forth. Again, that's something that I think may be helpful, or it may just delay the project further. It's an engineering review would ensure everything would protect the lake to the best of everyone's ability. But unless there are specific concerns that require an engineer, I'm hesitant to go through that process just because of the additional cost to the town and additional time that's required for that review process. I'm not sure that it would be as much a benefit to the project unless there are specific concerns that this will be harming the lake.
So Isabel, I guess from from listening, it sounds like the concern from LMAC is if the pipe punches through the wall in one location versus another location.
Yes.
If that's the case, can't we vote on it as is? Because regardless, it's an impact to a wall. We vote on it as is, and they submit a plan modification with that new routing.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We can do that. And then if there are modifications made to the plan, if the pipe is being moved or
I mean,
is changing in some way, then we would just need to go through the modification process, which isn't necessarily that difficult or time consuming. It's just something I want to make everyone aware of.
If I'm understanding correctly, would another option be to have a special meeting sometime after LMAC approves it?
Potentially, yes, if LMAC did approve this application tomorrow night,
Or if,
Wednesday.
or Wednesday, sorry, Wednesday
you.
night, then we could have a special meeting to approve it as well. But I think that what Ian's saying is also reasonable. We can approve what we have now as long as everyone on the commission is comfortable with it. And then if adjustments are made, then we can go through the modification process.
Okay, why don't we do that then?
So the adjustments would be made with recommendations of LMAC to the Board of Selectmen, because we
Correct.
advise the Board of Selectmen. Okay.
Yeah.
And just let me make one other thought or comment. John, I agree with you. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, this is a neighbor. The difference is one cannot rebuild the lake wall when the lake water is up to baseline level or higher.
Right.
So you can't impact a lake wall and or a stairway. So I agree with you. If you could do it 10 feet or whatever the modification may be, it's where will it end up ultimately in the lake? Will it go under a dock with a pipe, or will the pipe be angled where it would go in instead in the lake wall portion next to a new set of stairs? That was my understanding when I left the other day, and I didn't know if there had been any resolution. And I just texted Jim Santos a few hours ago, and I have no update from him. So
Okay.
I think we're going to have to wait until November to
Yeah.
reconstruct anything on a lake wall.
Right,
That's-
right. I wasn't talking about the lake wall, but,
Yeah.
just talking about letting him, at least mitigate some of his liability,
I concur.
on the right of way there, or the access.
I concur.
Okay, so why don't we take a vote on it then? Could somebody make a motion to approve the application with the condition of determining where the pipe will go into the lake at a later date?
I'll make a motion. I'm not gonna
Second.
repeat all that, but I'll make a motion for it.
A
And I
second.
do have a summary ruling prepared with some conditions as well.
Oh, we have
Can you amend a summary ruling?
We can, with an application to modify the previous permit.
Okay.
okay, you want to read the summary ruling then?
Sure, I will put this up so that everyone can see it.
Ah.
Sorry
just-
if you can hear my dog chewing on a bone in the background. I apologize.
Here I am. I lost you all. You're back.
So this is summary ruling for IWWC 2223-30, the application of Michael Dobish to install 40 feet of pipe, add permeable pavers, soil, grass, and new steps into Columbia Lake. I will skip over our first 6 or so standard conditions. Special consideration is to be given to Columbia Lake, which is a area of special concern. Maintenance practices necessary to assure proper functioning of erosion and sedimentation controls, routine monitoring and removal of sediment and repairs if necessary. Controls to be monitored prior to forecasted rain events and after forecasted rain events of 3/4 of an inch or greater. Work in the lake shall be completed during lake drawdown between October 15th and March 15th in an even numbered year, or November 15th and March 15th in an odd numbered year. Silt fence or hay bales shall be placed above and below the site to be disturbed to minimize stormwater runoff to the area. No heavy machinery shall be used on the lake bed. No material shall be stored on the lake bed. A dry well shall be installed before the corrugated pipe to slow water flow from the swale and remove any remaining sediment. Site to be inspected biennially during lake drawdown. A letter certifying that the dry well, pipe, and permeable pavers have been maintained and are functioning shall be sent to the Columbia Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission after each inspection. That's every 2 years. A copy of these conditions is to be recorded on the land record with the town clerk, and the applicant, Michael Dobish, is assigned to the responsibility for implementing this erosion and sediment control plan. Responsibility includes installation and maintenance of control measures, informing all parties engaged on the construction site of the requirements and objectives of the plan, notifying the Inland Wetlands Commission office of any transfer of this responsibility, and conveying a copy of the erosion and sediment control plan if the title to the land is transferred.
Isabel, I would suggest that number 13, sorry, be amended to say, instead of saying remove any remaining sediment, it's very unrealistic to think a dry well will remove any and all remaining sediment. I think that should be clarified to say something about to make an attempt to remove any remaining sediment.
And or minimize.
Yeah,
Something
I mean,
like
just,
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
I just don't want to hold him or hold somebody
Accountable.
reading this to say, you know, he's sediments coming into the lake.
Oh, no, that's completely reasonable. It's a good change.
Okay,
And I think that, I did include a section about these conditions being recorded with the town clerk. I think it would be really beneficial to start doing this with anything that involves permeable pavers or infiltration that's going directly into the lake, because these kind of systems do require some kind of periodic maintenance. We could wait on that. I could leave that in here. It's up to the commission, but we could wait on actually having anything recorded pending the final approval from both Board of Selectmen and Wetlands.
that sounds good. Okay.
Isabel, I just didn't catch, did you include the area that I was going to put the removable panels to store the kayaks on? Or does that
So-
not need approval?
This is all in the approval. It directly references the maps that you submitted.
Okay, I'm
And all
sorry.
materials that no, you're fine. All materials that you submitted. So this will apply to your current application, and then if you make any adjustments to that pipe at the bottom based on
Okay.
LMAX feedback, then you would just come back for that modification of this permit.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we need a motion to accept the summary ruling as Isabel stated. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Okay,
second.
all in favor, raise your hand. Okay, so moved. Very good. Thank
I'm
you.
abstaining. Excuse me, I'm abstaining.
No problem.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. And we'll see what LMAC comes up with on Wednesday and take it from there. Okay. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next thing on our agenda is item 6.1, but is
Weren't we gonna do the minutes first?
oh, okay, yeah, we could do the minutes first. Okay, why don't we do the approval of the minutes first? Okay, this is the minutes of our regular meeting from March 6, 2023. Do we
Wait,
have
one
a
second.
motion to approve them?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, second,
Ron?
okay, Ron just seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Abstaining.
And the sec- Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
no
I
problem.
don't think I was at the meeting. I can't recall.
Oh, all right, no
So-
problem. All right, and the site walk minutes of March 18th, 2023. Do I hear a motion to approve that?
I make that motion.
Okay, Ron.
I'll second.
Okay, very good. All in favor, say aye. Raise your
Aye.
hand. So moved. Thank you. Okay, so those are taken care of. The new business, I'm sorry, yeah, the new business on the application of Austin Arman for timber harvest on Route 87 East, Assessors Map 22, Lot 2. Is anybody here to represent him?
I can give a brief introduction and then if Austin Harmon is not here yet, I've discussed it with him. Either we can continue this to next month, or if we were to have some sort of special meeting, I could include that on the agenda as well.
Okay,
But I can just give a brief introduction. So the project is scheduled to start approximately sometime around mid-May to early June. It's quite an area to be forested. There are, I believe, 2 stream crossings, one of which goes over the 10-mile river, 2 drainage crossings, and a wetlands crossing. So we have, let's see, the map has been included within the meeting packet. I'm just looking for it right now.
okay,
Sorry. So this property actually is on the border of Colombia and Lebanon, right by the 10-mile river. The goal of the harvest is to remove diseased, declining, and poorly formed individuals to promote better regeneration of desired species. Let's see. They're estimating they will be removing about 134 cords of material. And as I said, there are, let's see, 5 wetland and stream crossings. I've included an email as well in the meeting packet that I sent to Austin and his responses. The wetlands have not been flagged by a soil scientist, but he described the process through which they were flagged. Using national wetland inventory data, Columbia's wetland data, GIS mapping, and field reconnaissance. The wetlands approximately were marked in that manner. And then he also described the various crossings, the 2 stream crossings, one of which is over the 10-mile river, will be crossed with a log bridge, which will have corduroy on either side of the bridge. It's the only way for them to enter and exit the property currently. Originally, they were planning to enter through a right-of-way from CLNP or Eversource, but unfortunately, they weren't able to gain access in that manner. So the only way for them to enter and exit the property is by crossing the 10-mile river.
Mm.
They'll be using-
How wide is the river at those points?
I'm not sure that I actually have that specific information. He said it is approximately a 5 to 10% slope on either side of the river at the area that they're planning to cross it, and there's a 1 to 2 foot stream bank that they will enter from. Just looking for that map again. And so essentially this is fairly complicated as far as jurisdictional rulings go and as far as forestry operations go. They'll be using a number of methods, including timber bridge mats within the wetland and corduroy to cross the streams that they're crossing and the drainage as well. So from a Wetlands Commission perspective, essentially, it's a matter of whether or not the commission feels they have jurisdiction over the work that is being proposed. Forestry, by definition, within the Connecticut statutes, as we've discussed, is considered farming. And therefore, when we have these operations, generally we issue a ruling that the commission has no jurisdiction. In cases where there is activity directly within the wetlands or fill or excavation within the wetlands, then the commission does have a right to rule that a permit is required. And then that's a matter of going through that additional process. So I think
I have a couple of questions.
Oh, go ahead.
Is Eversource refusing to allow them to use, to access the property through
From-
Eversource property?
My conversation with the forester, Eversource was allowing it, but they don't own the entirety of the property. I guess the right of way doesn't connect directly to this parcel. And so the forester wasn't able to get in contact with the adjacent landowner and get permission to enter the property from the right of way. And so that wasn't a feasible way to access the property.
And they brought this before the Lebanon Inland Wetlands Commission? I mean, there's a portion of it that is in Lebanon?
Yes, so where they cross the 10-mile river, that's the border between the two towns. So currently the forester is actually at the meeting for the Lebanon's Wetlands Commission. We just happen to overlap. So in my discussion with him, I told him that if we are not able to come to a decision, or if he's not able to make this meeting, then it might get pushed essentially to the next month so that the commission can actually speak with him and ask questions to him directly. In which case the project, like I said, is most likely going to start in mid-May to early June. They're currently working on that Laurel Lane project that we issued a jurisdictional ruling on, I think about a month ago. So this is not necessarily an urgent matter, and it's something that certainly we can wait to discuss more directly with the forester in a later meeting.
Since this involves a 10-mile river, I think we should at least take a look at it and see what's really going on.
I agree.
That's my thought.
I agree. And you know, just a simple thing, are they planning on removing that? Are they watching the weather to pull that bridge? Because if it's left in place and we get a flood stage, that could cause a lot of havoc up and downstream. So, I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg, I guess. I agree with Tip, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'd be a little bit concerned about the width of the river at the point they're going to be putting the bridge across. I mean, you have to have some pretty large lumber to go across it if it's a wide area.
How many acres are we talking about? Just ballpark.
40, I think, isn't it?
To 28?
28.38.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then 34.8 acres total and
Yeah.
28 to be harvested.
Total is around 38. Okay,
Yeah, so I think it's perfectly reasonable for the commission to wait on this, and I can have it on the agenda for the next meeting.
If we do that, do we still need a motion to accept?
It wouldn't hurt. We don't generally do motions to accept because we just
Okay.
issue a jurisdictional ruling, but
Okay, I
think-
know sometimes we do and sometimes we don't.
but
I'm
there's
not
no-
sure that it's technically required, but it wouldn't hurt to have the motion on the in the minutes.
Okay. Somebody want to make the motion?
Motion to accept.
Okay. Second,
I'll second it.
okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? So moved.
And do we want to schedule a site walk?
Hmm. I don't know. What's your thoughts on it, Isabel?
I don't think that the forester would be opposed to the commission viewing sections of the property. It's certainly large, but I can see the benefit for everyone seeing that section of the 10-mile river. And then additionally, now that the material is out and everyone has access to it, I think the best course of action would be to also review the section of our regulations that has to do with farming and other uses as of right. So that the next time we meet, that will really be the topic of conversation as to whether or not this does require a permit. And then if it does, we'll go through additional review for the sections of the activity that require a permit.
Okay.
Isabel, one question that when you talk to him, it wouldn't be bad to ask if he's explored all abutters for access.
Sure, yeah, I will
Good point. Yeah.
communicate that to him, definitely. I know that they've explored the property with the right of way. I'm not sure about the remaining abutters or if there's an additional way to access the property. From my review on the GIS, I didn't see any personally, but I think it would be a good conversation to have with the forester.
Yeah, I just want to have that, even if it's just dotting the i's and crossing the t's to make sure that we've asked it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would it be possible to go on the other side of the 10-mile river through Lebanon and the other side through Columbia to do the work? And now they wouldn't have to go over the river.
I think potentially, I'm not sure that they were able to access that with the abutters. I believe they did have a conversation about that, but I can't remember, to be completely honest with you off the top of my head. I will ask the forester about that and we'll have a response in writing for you for the next meeting.
Okay, very
And
good.
hopefully he'll be in attendance at the next meeting as well.
Okay. So we'll wait till the next meeting and, or should we have a site walk? I think you could get some pretty good pictures from the satellites of the area, and maybe we could see what we want through that rather than have a site walk. Do you think we could get some good pictures, enough pictures to see the area from the satellites?
Yeah, I mean, John, I was just doing that right now on Google Earth. You can
Yeah.
see it pretty well.
Okay. So I don't, if we get some good pictures, I don't think we need to have a site walk. my opinion, but I don't know how.
And we can always look at it individually on the ground, I would hope. Hope property owner would let us go individually. Property owners.
Mhm.
I can contact the property owners certainly and just confirm that.
Good,
This
good.
is technically not the same application process we go through for direct applications to the commission for a permit. So I would have to verify that with them before I think anyone goes on the property. But it is part of the application process as well, which they did fill out. I would just like to give them general notice before someone's going on the property because I
Yeah,
don't like to
yeah.
catch people off guard, but
Okay, you could probably do that by sending an email, depending on what the situation is.
All right, yeah.
Okay, very good. So we'll do that. Okay. We don't have any audience or citizens. Any open discussion?
I would like to make one point if no commission members have anything to bring up. I've had some trouble recently with getting my email out to a couple commission members and a couple just other people in general, actually. So I know both Mary and John have had trouble. If anyone else is missing emails from me, I did send out the meeting packet, I think, let's see, over the weekend. So if you did not receive that, if you got it from the website or you had to reach out to Josh, please just let me know. I'm not entirely sure where the root of the problem is, but it seems like they're getting to some people and not getting to others. So we're working on figuring that out.
And usually I'm the one sending out the agendas and packets, and in the case of John, at least, he still seems to be getting my emails.
Yeah, I get the ones from Josh, but not from Isabel.
So I will say a lot of mine were going into the spam folder.
Mm.
Yeah,
So once I corrected that, that seemed to rectify at least the problem on my end.
I found 2 of probably 6 missing in a spam folder. I don't know where these things are going, and I'm technically challenged, so we'll figure it out.
The other boards I clerk for are having some of the same problems, and
Hmm.
some of them have found it in the spam folder.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've had other residents have issues as well where I've sent them emails and they searched for it and couldn't find it as well. So definitely just, it's something I wanted to make everyone aware of. And if you're expecting something from me and you don't hear from me, please feel free to call the town hall or send an email because I seem to be getting everything. And just let me know you're having a problem.
Yeah, my sense is, Isabel, it's not just you. Mark Walters sent me something supposedly Friday. It never showed up in my spam. It never showed up in my inbox. So I think I'm having an issue on my end, and I've got to figure that out.
Unless it's just the town system overall, and
Mm,
your
I don't know.
email sees something official looking and thinks it's spam or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I searched spam, nothing, couldn't find the email. So I might be creating a new one just for the town.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll figure it out. Administrative reports. Isabel?
Yes, so I do have an application in. I have not yet issued the administrative approval for Upper Woodland Terrace. It is, I believe, it has officially gone through ZBA.
You
the
all just-
application-
You all just froze for me for a second. You're back now.
Hello.
Well, I guess that'll show
think-
up on the recording.
I think we're good now.
Woo.
I don't know how much, did your sound cut out as well, Josh?
Yeah, I heard you saying it just went through the ZBA. I don't know what.
Okay, so for, I believe it's 21 Upper Woodland Terrace, the application is for a garage and some additions to the house, some other site improvements. So that is something that I'm currently working on, and it's still pending some nutrient allocation plan review and finalizations, but I think that's everything for administrative reports this month. No approvals.
Very good, thank you. And finally, do I have a motion to adjourn so we can watch that terrific basketball game?
Go Huskies!
Okay. Second, who's gonna?
I'll second.
I'm happy
Very
to.
well.
So moved. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you, John.
Yeah,
Thank you,
have a good
John,
day.
so much.
Yep.
Hey, everybody.
Bye-bye now.
Is